Hi, friends, and welcome back to the Bibles, Babies, and Business podcast. I'm so excited to chat with you today. But first, I want to ask, have you ever wondered if you should become an online coach? Maybe you're on Instagram. Most people are. Most people have an account on Instagram, and you've been scrolling and you've been seeing other women start these online coaching businesses, and they're like actually making money online. Or maybe you're listening to a podcast, or you see people promoting their coaching business on Facebook. Wherever your social media is, you've seen other people do the thing and start the online business. And you've been thinking to yourself, maybe for a while now, would that be possible for me too? Well, if that is you, then today's episode is definitely for you. We're going to be talking about, should you become an online coach? 3 signs that God is calling you to become an online coach and start the business so that you can have time freedom to be there for your family and for your kids in this season of mothering littles, so you can have financial freedom to get out of debt, to build savings, and to be able to bless other people. And lastly, start the business that God's calling you to so that you can bring glory to the King and share the gospel with others. A little side note here, online ministry is one of the many modern day ways that we can quite literally spread the gospel to the masses, spread the gospel to people all around the world without having to leave our living room. It's real, it's happening, and God might just be calling you to spread the gospel through an online coaching business. So let's get to it. Hey mama, welcome to Bibles, Babies, and Business. Are you ready to start an online biz, quit your 9-to-5, and stay home with your kids? Are you up late at night Googling online business ideas, how to market myself, and how to get my first paying client? Do you have lots of ideas but feel overwhelmed when trying to figure out which ones to focus on so you can move your business forward? Hey there, I'm Camie. I'm a Christian, a wife, and a soon-to-be mom. A few years ago, I too felt drained by my day job and wished I could find a way to make money online. I wanted time freedom and the financial freedom to be a stay-at-home mom. But imposter syndrome kept creeping in and telling me, you could never make enough money doing that. And what if you do try and you fail? But then I discovered how to build an online coaching business from home. In this podcast, you'll find biblical principles for the Christian entrepreneur, online marketing tips to help you start and build an online coaching business from home, and a whole lot of mom life, because we're doing it all with a baby on our hip. So grab your Bible, snuggle your baby, and let's build your business, because you were made for this. All right, friends, we want to start off today's episode by reading a review. This one comes from Katie Worley, and she says, Camie's account was shared by a friend on Instagram, and I am so thankful. All business coaches I've ever seen are completely absorbed by the world and financial gain. Camie is a breath of fresh air. This podcast is filled with such rich information, and Camie does not sugarcoat anything. You know that's true, for sure. Just the truth and gospel-centered business education I needed, and I know she will bless your faith-based business as well. Katie, thank you so much for listening to the show, for taking 30 seconds to leave me a review. Your kind words are such a blessing to me, such an encouragement to me as I'm creating episodes and hitting record on this microphone. So thank you so much. And friends, if you are loving this show, if it is blessing you, if you're getting like little nuggets of wisdom or breakthroughs from listening to these episodes, then I would so appreciate it if you took 30 seconds and went to Apple Podcasts and left me a review. This is one of the ways that I know that A, you're listening to the show, and B, what you think of the show. So you can go to Apple iTunes, go to the show, Bibles, Babies, and Business, scroll all the way to the bottom, and leave me a review, and maybe I will read your review on one of the future episodes of the show. Also, before we get into today's episode, the training portion, I want to let you know that we have started a Facebook community. And this is for the Christian mom who loves the Lord and wants to start an online coaching business so that she can quit her 9 to 5 and come home and be present with her children. This is for the woman who's wanting financial freedom and time freedom that is offered through having an online coaching business. This Facebook group is a place for you to find community with other women who are running the race alongside of you, to have encouragement and support, because let's be honest, this entrepreneurship journey, especially online, can be so lonely. And when we are alone, that is one of the prime times in which the enemy loves to come and attack you. So there is a reason why Christ tells us to surround ourselves with community. There is strength in numbers. And so I invite you to come join this Facebook community. You can find the link to join that down in the show notes. We would love to have you. It's going to be amazing. All right, let's dive into the episode. And I need to start off with a confession. And my confession is, I honestly was never planning on becoming an online coach. Like when I was graduating high school and everybody was saying what their college plans were, their plans even after college, all the great careers that they had in store, mine was never to become an online coach. Actually, mine was to become a pediatric oncology doctor. Believe it or not, that's what I started off going to college for. I was going to become a doctor. And just a little side note, I went to college for 5 years. I actually went to 4 different colleges. It took me 5 years. I went to 4 different colleges. I had 3 different majors. I was first going to become a doctor in pediatric oncology. Then I was going to become a nurse. Then I was going to become a dietitian. And then I thought, well, I really don't want to be a dietitian in the hospital setting. And to be honest, I really didn't have the grades for it either. So maybe I will become a corporate wellness director. And then that led me to become a coach. It's this very roundabout journey, if you will, to how I came to this place of being an online coach. When I graduated college, I graduated with my sweet husband in May of 2018 in Nebraska. And 2 weeks later, we walked down the aisle and joined together in marriage. The very next day, we went on a honeymoon. It was just like this boom, 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 like milestone, graduate college, get married, go on your honeymoon. And then, so like you're on this like euphoric state, like you're so happy, you've accomplished all these things. And then you come home from the honeymoon and it felt like the second I stepped off that plane, anxiety started creeping in and panic started creeping in and confusion started creeping in. And the reason why was because I didn't have a job set up. Like I had just graduated a few weeks earlier. My sweet husband, who is so intelligent, he already had a job set up. He had a job set up, I'm pretty sure, before we even walked across the stage in our graduation gowns. He had his engineering job set up. He was going to start working the day after we got back from our honeymoon. Like he was very calculated and planned out, and I wasn't. So here I was, a brand new wife, a brand new college graduate, just got back from my honeymoon with the best month of my life, and now I'm sitting here in this itty bitty little apartment, confused as all get out, knowing nothing about what my next steps are. So I started looking for what I thought was my dream job, which at that time was to be a corporate wellness director, to work at a company and really help them run their health division. And I looked and I looked and I looked and I applied and I applied and applied. And no matter how many applications I filled out, no matter how many hours I spent searching for this dream job that I had in mind, I did not find it for several months anyway. And it got to the point where like I needed a job. We had bills coming in and I needed a job, whether it was my dream job or not, whether it was what I went to school for or not. So I ended up taking this job that did not pay very well. It took up a lot of my time, but I needed something to help pay the bills. And honestly, I did not have a very good experience at that job. I would come home crying. It was a very stressful time in my life. And now that I look back on it, hindsight's always 2020. I'm very thankful for that season because I think it showed me what was not for me. It helped pay the bills in the meantime, which is definitely a blessing. That's provision from the Lord. And it also showed me what I didn't need, what I thought I wanted, which I thought that I wanted to have a career that I got up every day, got ready for work and went to work, and then came home and did dinner and spent time with the husband and went to bed. That's what I thought I wanted. And what this job showed me, even though it wasn't my dream job, is that was so not the lifestyle for me. It so wasn't. And I started thinking during that time while I was at this job, I started thinking about, okay, well, what else can I do? I can't leave this job yet. It's definitely paying the bills. But I started thinking about how could I make money in an easier way? And when I see an easier way, I mean not exchanging my time for dollars. I would look at my paycheck every 2 weeks and I would think, wow, I spent all that time, energy, hours, and tears, honestly, after I came home from work, and all I had to show for it was truly less than $1,000 every 2 weeks. I think it was my paycheck was like $800 every 2 weeks. And I was like, there has to be an easier way to make money that doesn't involve me being so stressed out that I'm crying to my husband every single day after work. So I started thinking about coaching. And to be honest, the thought terrified me. And it terrified me because I was thinking, well, could I really make this work? Well, what if I tried and I failed? Because to be honest, being an online coach meant that I had to put myself out there publicly, which meant my friends were going to see the posts, my family members were going to see the posts, people that knew me were all going to see these posts of me promoting my coaching. And what would they think? Would they laugh at me? Would they think that I'm crazy? Because to be honest, even though I saw other people around the world online doing this coaching thing, I didn't personally know anybody in my own friend group or family group that was doing the thing, that was doing an online coaching business. And I thought about it for probably a few months. And it came to be January of 2019, and we were on vacation. I was away from the job. I was able to take a break from the job to go on vacation with my family, and it was during that time that I was probably thinking, oh my gosh, I have to go back to this job. How can I get out of this situation? It was during that vacation that I, by the way, did not pay a dime for. Mom and Dad, God bless you. I did not pay a dime because Lord knows we could not afford to go on that vacation. Mom and Dad paved the way for that one. I was on that vacation that I decided I am afraid, but I'm going to take the leap anyway. And within a few months, I had actually signed about 40 clients. Now, I made a whole bunch of mistakes along the way. I was drastically undercharging, which was probably why I was able to sign so many clients, because people were like, oh my gosh, this is pocket change. Sure, I'll sign up with you. I had no idea how to run a business. It was a little bit chaotic, but honestly, that's a little bit of the journey. It's a little bit of, what it's like to pay your dues. Sometimes you have to stumble around a little bit in order to find your footing. And then something strange happened. I had just started to dip my toe in the water of online coaching. I had signed about 40 clients. Yes, it was at an extremely low rate, but it was 40 clients nonetheless. And something really weird happened in that moment. After months of having searched for my dream job, applied for my dream job, and not hearing anything, or not being offered a position at all, and having taken that other job that really wasn't what I wanted, I heard back from a company that I had applied for months back, and they were looking to hire somebody for, wait for it, a corporate wellness position. I want to stop here and note, please be careful of shiny objects when you are pursuing the Lord's path for your life. This was a shiny object. This was like my dream job. Like here I was like on this coaching, but then all of a sudden over here, oh my gosh, there's the job. There's the job that I was searching for so long. They asked me to come in for an interview, so I did. And You guys, it was the most surreal experience. I was in the interview room, and every single person in the room, myself included, knew this was not a good fit. I was not meant for that company. They were not meant for me. I left that interview feeling so honestly weird. Like, it was like I had the opportunity to have my dream job, and all of a sudden I didn't want it. What I thought was my dream job coming out of college turned out to not be my dream job at all, and I didn't want it anymore. Like, there was zero desire. And I really felt in that moment that God was speaking, because I had started the online coaching business, but I was kind of at it, I would say probably a little bit hesitantly, because I just didn't know what I was doing. And I felt like this moment, this interview, this thing that I thought I wanted that actually turned out to be nothing like what I thought, was confirmation that he was telling me to go ahead and kick it in high gear, Cam, and pursue the online coaching business full force. So I did. And within a few months, I had went full time in my online coaching business. So today, friends, if you are listening to this with a tug on your heart from the Lord to become an online coach, but you're like, I don't know, I just don't know, I want to tell you 3 signs that you may be experiencing that might just be God calling you to start the business. Which, by the way, did you know that coaching is a form of teaching, and teaching is one of the spiritual gifts that the Lord gave the church? Fun fact, teaching might be your spiritual gift, and coaching is the way that the Lord is calling you to use your spiritual gift, not only to provide for your family, but to bring glory to the kingdom. Think about that for a second. That's not even part of one of the 3 signs. That was just a little bonus, little nugget of information for you. So let's dive into these 3 signs. The first sign that God might be calling you to become an online coach and start the business is very simple. You feel a tug on your heart. You're feeling this desire. Maybe you don't know where it's coming from, but all of a sudden you're kind of interested. You're kind of intrigued by the idea of, well, could I do it? I mean, maybe I couldn't. Maybe I couldn't. I mean, should I? Should I not? Do I see other people doing it? There's a lot of wondering during this time period when you're just first getting this tug on your heart. There's a lot of wondering of, well, is this a me idea or is this a God idea? Is God really calling me to step out of my comfort zone to become an online coach and to start the business? Or is this just me being silly? Is this just a silly idea in my head? There's usually a lot of doubt in this stage, a lot of fear, a lot of second guessing and third guessing and fourth guessing, because it's probably something that you haven't done before. You probably haven't been an online coach before. And to be honest, you probably don't know a whole lot of other people, at least in your personal life, that are online coaches. I know very few people in my personal life that pursue this career. I see a whole bunch of people online that are doing online coaching, but I don't actually know a whole lot of people personally that are doing it, which can make people feel like, well, is it even possible? Imposter syndrome is usually at an all-time high here in the beginning, where you're first starting to feel that tug on your heart, a lot of doubt, a lot of fear, but rest assured, be encouraged that the fact that you even have it on your heart is usually the very first sign that God is calling you into a new season. Number 2, the second sign that God might be calling you to become an online coach. You begin to have idea overload for your potential business. And I'm saying potential business because at this point, you probably don't have a business, but you're having a whole bunch of ideas of what you could do for a potential business. Idea overload is essentially an abundance of creativity, never-ending ideas. The possibilities are endless. It's all very exciting and kind of nerve-wracking at the same time. And some people, this freaks them out. This stresses them out to have idea overload, but rest assured that it is actually a good sign. And it's a good sign because ideas are a form of creativity and a creative provision from the Lord, who is the ultimate creator. The opposite of having idea overload would be to have zero ideas and zero direction. If you have zero ideas and zero direction, it might be a sign that there is no provision in that path. So if you do have a whole bunch of ideas, a lot of creativity, of potential of what you could do with this business, this could be coming from the Lord. Now, some people, again, think of idea overload as a bad thing. They think of it as a distraction, as confusion, as like, oh my gosh, like analysis paralysis. And it is important to know that you do need to have the discipline and discernment to filter through all of these ideas, because not every single idea is coming from the Lord. You have to know which ones are a you idea and which ones are a God idea, so that you can pursue what the Lord wants you to pursue and leave behind the things that are just a good idea but not a God idea. So that was sign number 2. You have idea overload, a whole bunch of different things that you could do for your business, and you're actually starting to get excited about it. Yes, it's a little nerve-wracking, but the possibilities are endless, and that excites you. The third and final sign that the Lord might just be calling you to become an online coach and start the business is people start coming out of the woodwork, asking you questions or asking you for help about the topic that you would coach on. For example, when I started as an online coach, I started as a fitness coach, and people just started coming out of the woodwork asking for my help, asking if I took on clients. There is provision where the Lord leads. If God called you, is calling you to start the business, to become an online coach, then he has already prepared the clients. He is simply just waiting for your yes and your obedience to take action. So therefore, we don't have to be afraid of, well, who would anybody buy this? Would anybody sign up? Friend, if he's calling you to start the business, the clients are already secure. God's just waiting for your yes. He's waiting for you to trust him enough to step out of your comfort zone, take his hand, and follow him in the calling that he has for your life. And also, a little bonus tidbit I want to add in here: don't be afraid to ask God for confirmation. Lord, I feel this tug on my heart. I have a whole bunch of ideas for this business, and people are starting to come out of the woodwork asking me for help, asking me questions around the topic that if I were to pursue this thing, this is what I would coach on. But God, I just need to know that this is you and not just me. Would you give me confirmation that you really are calling me to start the business? And God, if you confirm it, I will be obedient in it. I may not know what I'm doing. I may not know how to actually build the business, but I will be obedient because I trust that you do. If you pray that prayer, friend, God will 100% answer you with confirmation. The Lord has answered me in confirmation in the wildest of ways in the past. Ways that there was no possible circumstance in which this could be just happenstance, or there was a coincidence. Like, no, when the Lord answers you with confirmation, it is like a beautiful slap in the face of, oh, okay, God, you are speaking. Like, it hits you like a rock. And you could go forth with confidence that this really is what the Lord is calling you to do. So I want to just quickly recap, what are those 3 signs that God might just be calling you to become an online coach and start the business? Sign number 1, you start to feel a tug on your heart. You have this interest, you start to have a desire to coach, maybe some piqued curiosity about what it would be like, or could it possibly happen for me? That's sign number 1. You start to feel that tug on your heart. Number 2, you begin to have idea overload of all the things that you could do for your business. Never-ending possibilities, which, yes, you do have to be disciplined and discern which ideas are just a good idea and which ideas are a God idea. But idea overload is a sign, because it's an abundance of creativity, creative provision, if you will, from the Lord. And number 3, people start coming out of the woodwork asking you questions on the topic that you would coach on. They might even be asking you for your help. They may be asking you, hey, could I pay you to maybe help me with this thing? Those are the 3 signs, my friend, that God might just be calling you to start the business and to become an online coach. Now, if you're listening to this and you are like, Camie, check, 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 that is me, then I am so glad you are here. Thank you for tuning into today's podcast episode. I have an action step for you. I want you to scroll down in the show notes and click the link for my Facebook community and come join us, where there is a community, a sisterhood of women who love the Lord and are all running this race of starting online coaching businesses together. There is support, there is encouragement, there's going to be live coaching in this group. Let this be a resource, and a free resource at that, for you to come and be amongst other people that the Lord has called to start the coaching business. I love you, my friend, and I want you to remember that you were made for this. Even if you can't see the entire vision yet or the entire pathway, even if you don't have all the answers and the puzzle pieces, you're not really sure how they're all fitting yet, you are called, you are anointed, and you were made for this. I'll see you next time on the Bibles, Babies, and Business podcast. Hi, friend. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Bibles, Babies, and Business podcast. If you learned something from today's episode, or if it blessed you in any way, I would love to know. You can head over to Apple Podcasts and leave me a review, and I may just read your review on the show. Thank you again for being here, and I pray that God would fill you with peace in your faith, your motherhood, and your business, because you were made for this.